What's up? It's Chris, and today I'm going to talk to you about how college is a scam. Complete scam in most cases, in my eyes. And we're going to get into a lot of my opinions on it. And I did go to college. I'm really lucky because my grandfather paid for college for me. I'm blessed in that way. I'm very blessed that I don't have any student debt. And one of the reasons I'm making this video is because if there are people out there, high schoolers, or maybe you're thinking about going back to college, and you're thinking, should I take on $200,000 of debt so that I can maybe get a job that pays me like 50 grand? Well, I'm going to explain to you why you most likely shouldn't. Maybe you should in certain cases, but you most likely should not. Because there are many other amazing things that you could do with $200,000 besides get an education. In my opinion. This is my opinion, once again. And I'd say I'm biased because I was able to build a career without a college education. Like I have a college degree from UCLA, but I don't use it at all in my work because I'm a spiritual coach. As you could tell, if you're watching my videos, I'm a full-time spiritual coach, and I make a living off of coaching people on how to protect their energy and how to raise their vibration. And eventually, I think I'm going to get into some manifesting and identity shifting work, but I don't know right now. Right now, I'm working on empaths mostly. But back to the point. So, college is a scam. The first thing you need to know to notice that college is a scam is think about it. Why do people go to college for the most part? Why do people go to college? To make money, right? I don't think most of us out there are like, you know what? I just want to be a little more educated. Like that's awesome if that's why you go to college, is so that you could become more educated. But we have the internet now. I've learned so much more in personal experience in trying things as well as just learning shit on the internet than I ever learned when I was in college. Ever. And I don't think that it's necessary to make money, especially with the internet nowadays, and especially with mentorship. So the first thing you need to know when you look into how college is a scam is the fact that if you're paying a certain amount of money for a degree that is supposed to earn you the rights to getting a job that's supposed to make you a certain amount of money, then it seems like the price of that degree should rise accordingly with the amount of money that the average person makes when they leave university, right? That only makes sense if you are buying, a piece of gold, then you're hoping that the price you could sell it for is going to be the same or higher than the price you bought it for. And I know this is not a perfect metaphor. I just came up with it off the top of my head. It's not perfect, but it works because it's the same thing. You're buying a degree so that that degree makes you a certain amount of money. So if the degree's price is going up, then you must be like, oh, then it must be making you more money because that's what it's for, right? For most people, I think that's what it's for. It's for that. It's for making money. So if its price is increasing, then the amount of money you make from it should be increasing at least kind of similar to it. At least a little bit similar to it. I understand if demand is going up for these degrees, then the price is going to rise. But it shouldn't go up in a way that's significantly different than the amount of money you make from one. Or else it doesn't really make sense. Why is there a big demand for it? Social conditioning. We'll get into that in a second. Coercion, shaming. the idea that you're not gonna be successful, the idea that you're less than if you don't have a college education, which is hardwired into our brains from a young age and hardwired into our parents' brains. And that's why they are willing to pay exorbitant amounts of money for something that's actually clearly not as valuable as the money that they invested into it. So you're losing money a lot of the time in the long term, especially in opportunity costs. You're losing a ton of money. But I'm going to put right here this chart. And this chart shows you that the price of the average college degree has been significantly rising, while the price of the average salary outside of college has been rising with inflation. So what's going on there? Why is that happening? Because they can. And that's the key to like a scam, right? They're raising the prices because you don't have any other options socially. Your only other option is to hopefully become successful in a business so that people go, oh, it's okay that he didn't go to college because he's making a lot of money. It's okay. That's the only thing you can hope for, to get social respect in a lot of communities. If you don't have a college degree, is you have to have something else to show for it. But if you're in the process of getting it, then people look down upon you. So there's the first thing that pretty much clearly shows that college is a scam, is that the price of tuition rapidly has been increasing and the price in the average salary has not been rapidly increasing. And there's a big difference in those charts. Or it's the same chart, a big difference in those lines on the graph. A really big difference. It's ridiculous. It really is. So how do they do this? How do they convince us that it's normal to spend? Let's pull up some documents. I pulled this up. The top 17 universities. So yes, they are going to be more expensive than the average, but also if you're not going to one of like the top 50 universities, then your degree really doesn't hold much weight unless it's very specific. Most people are looking for these name brand schools when they're trying to hire you for a good job. It sucks to say, but they don't really care about your education. They care about where you were educated and what degree you got at that school, but they care about where you were educated. I went to UCLA. I was a philosophy major. I got jobs just because I went to UCLA. And they didn't even ask me what degree I had. They didn't even look at it. They didn't even verify that I would graduate at UCLA. I probably could have lied, like Jeffrey Epstein did. Which, look into that. He never went to college. It's pretty crazy. Terrible guy. And he did a lot of other terrible stuff, like lie to people about where he went to college. And he got amazing jobs lying to people about where he went to college. Like, really, it's a scam. You could just lie about it. That's a joke. I'm not saying to lie about it. So, Vanderbilt University, great university, full price tuition and fees after living expenses and stuff, $44,000 a year. $44,000 a year. A year. So that's what, like, it's near $200,000. It's like $170,000 for that degree. And a lot of time and effort. You're not just giving the money, you're giving away a ton of your valuable years to getting that degree. So not to mention the time that you're wasting. Not necessarily wasting, because if you're getting educated and you're learning, it's good for your mind and stuff, but you could be using that time to build a business or something. And look at this, the median salary 10 years after entry, that's 6 years after graduation, $64,000 before taxes. $64,000. That's not enough to support a family. If you support a family on $64,000 a year, that's almost poverty. And you went to Vanderbilt, and that's the average, and that's 6 years after graduating. That's not even the job you get right after. That's after 6 years of working. You're still making 60 grand before taxes. That's like 40 grand a year. It's like 40 something grand after taxes in California, at least. That's 50 at best. Oh my God. And how are you going to pay off 170 grand when you're netting 50 grand a year? You're giving away a huge chunk of that money you're making, to your student loans. So you're not even making 50. You're making less because you're paying off your $170,000 loan. Oh my God. Let's go to some other cool ones. Let's even go to like a really, really high end. Let's do Harvard. Let's see Harvard. Harvard University, full price tuition and fees, $45,000 a year. That's 180 grand of potential debt. Sure, you could get grants and scholarships, but they're not going to pay the whole thing. They're not going to pay unless you got a full ride. Then go to college. If you're getting a full ride, go to college. That's dope. But for most people, 45 grand a year. Oh my God. And the median salary 10 years since entry, $90,000. You're not even making six figures 6 years after your Harvard degree. You went to Harvard 6 years, you graduated Harvard, you've had a Harvard degree for 6 years, and the average person is making less than six figures before taxes. Before taxes, that's like 70 grand. Oh my God. If you're paying that much money for something, if you're paying $180,000, you should be making $180,000 a year, in my opinion. $180,000 you spent, and you're not even making six figures before taxes. And it's 6 years later, not to mention like the first 2-3 years. Oh my God. What are they doing to you? They have you up against a wall. They are putting their hands in your pockets and stealing your money. They're taking it. Do you know what else you could buy with 180 grand? Do you know the types of investments you could make? Put some money in crypto. I know that's not equivalent to a college degree, and that was more of a joke. Like, I do think that if you put 100 grand in crypto, you make way more money than if you put that into Harvard. But that's my opinion. We'll see. It depends what crypto you invest in. But let's think about mentoring, for example. Imagine instead of spending $180,000 on a Harvard degree, and that's if you could even get in. Most likely you're going to some no-name university and you're still paying like 50 to 80 grand or something over 4 years or more. And you don't even have the name Harvard or UCLA or something to back you up. So let's say you take that, let's call it 100 grand. Let's say you're 18 and instead of your parents spending 100 grand on your college education, they say, hey, here's 100 grand. You can use that to start businesses and to hire mentors. Do you know what types of mentors you could hire for like 30 grand? You could hire a mentor that has started like 5-7-figure businesses for 30 grand. Like that's just me guessing. I actually don't know. They might charge way more, but you could definitely find some CEO that'll take 30 grand from you and mentor you for an hour a week and tell you how to actually build a business and how to actually become immensely successful. instead of listening to a college professor who, unless you want to be a college professor, why are you learning from a college professor about how to make money? And they don't even teach you how to make money. They just teach you random stuff, and then you get a degree and you hope that that degree gets you a job. You know, a lot of people struggle to even get a job out of college. A lot of my friends that went to UCLA struggled to get jobs with a UCLA degree. They struggled to get good jobs out of UCLA. Imagine if you go to some no-name university in the Midwest. How are you going to get hired? How? Do you know that there's a big problem right now where there's a ton of people with degrees that are unemployed? It'd be one thing if you go get a degree and then everyone wants to hire you because they're like, wow, a person with a degree. Everyone has a degree now. You're not special if you have a degree anymore. So you can't even really get a job unless you work your ass off. You're in such competition because you're exactly like everyone else. You're no different. You are no different with your college degree because everyone has one, basically. Everyone that's competing for the jobs you're competing for has one. So it doesn't make you stand out at all. You know what would make you stand out? If you had a mentor that already created an amazing business, and then you paid that mentor to give you the inside secrets for how they became so successful. That is how you become successful. That's what I did. When I wanted to become a spiritual coach, I hired coaches that taught me how to build businesses. And then they said, do this, and I did that. And they said, do this, and I did that. And then boom, coaching business. And I make more than a lot of people I know that graduated from UCLA. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm just saying that to show you that you don't need a college degree. The idea that people are making 60 grand out of college, out of going to Vanderbilt and like these prestigious universities, and the average person making 60 grand when they're fucking 28 years old, 6 years after college, and they're still making 60 grand. And if you're making 60 grand, then I'm not trying to put you down at all. I'm just saying, look at the system that got you there. Are you really happy about that? You probably still have a bunch of student debt. That's ridiculous that you have that much student debt. That's absolutely ridiculous. And not only are you paying the 100-something grand, you're paying interest. Oh my God. Oh. You're paying interest on it too. Are you kidding me? They are sticking it to you. They are doing something to you. Not going to mention it, but they're doing something. It's not very nice. You're paying interest on that loan too. Oh my God. You poor thing. Or your parents are. You could have taken that money and started 3 businesses and they all failed, and you still would have had a bunch of money, like tens of thousands of dollars left to hire a mentor and figure it out. You still would have had so much. But what they don't want you to do is go your own way. They want you to listen to them. They want you to listen to the system so they can keep squeezing all your hard-earned cash right out of you and keeping you poor so that you can't have a free consciousness. Because when you're in poverty, it's really tough to have a free consciousness because you're worried. You're stuck in your root chakra. You're worried about how you're going to eat and how you're going to pay rent. So you can't worry about how to ascend to the higher dimensions when you're worried about how you could pay rent or survive. It's not doable. You just can't. So now let's get into how they do this to you. How did they do this to you? How did they make it so people feel like it's okay to spend that much money on college? But if you were to pay a business mentor $5,000 for their expertise knowledge, or a spiritual mentor a couple $1,000s for their expertise knowledge, then that's somehow not worth it. But you'll pay 100-something thousand for a degree that doesn't even guarantee you a job. But you won't pay a mentor a couple $1,000s for their expertise knowledge, but you'll go pay a couple 100,000 to go learn from people who are just teaching material from a book and they don't even know anything about how to actually succeed in this life besides getting a job at a university. Sure, they probably know other stuff. If you're a professor, I'm sorry. I love you. I'm not saying anything mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just trying to break people out of the conditioning that they need to be in this mentality of college is necessary. It's not. Have you seen the internet? Have you seen people becoming millionaires when they're 20 years old? My friend Matt makes money off of drop shipping, and he's 20 years old, and he makes way more money than a lot of people I know's parents, and he works like a couple hours a month, and he didn't go to college. But what did he do? He learned from mentors online, and he became a mentor too, teaching people, but he still decided not to because he didn't want to do that. Because he makes all his money off his business, and he has run multiple businesses, and he's 20 years old. He might be 21 now. And he didn't go to college. And he told me he had teachers telling him that he wasn't going to be shit, and now he literally makes like 10 times their income without going to college. And he's 20. He might be 21 now, but nonetheless, you don't need to go to college. If you want to be a doctor, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be an engineer, you got to go to college. There's no way around that. You can't not go to medical school and become a doctor unless you want to become an illegal freelance black market doctor in the side streets of Tulum. But I don't suggest that. Or becoming a fraudulent lawyer. I don't suggest that. But if you don't know what you want to do, then you definitely don't want to go to college and to figure it out. Go figure it out online. Go hire a mentor to help you figure it out. Don't try to go figure it out by spending $100,000. Spend $5,000 on a mentor and go figure it out. Don't spend $200,000 to figure it out. That's a waste of money. That's a waste of your money or your parents' or the government's money, even if you're getting a grant. That could be going to feeding the homeless, but instead it's going to help you figure it out. Yeah, no thanks. So that concludes my rant on why I believe college is a scam. If you believe college is a scam too, go ahead and comment down below in capital letters about how college is a scam and about how I don't know, something like that. You can think for yourself and you can figure out your own comments. I don't need to comment for you. So comment something below, or if you think my opinion is stupid, comment below too, and I'll argue with you, and I'll prove to you that you're the stupid one. I'm kidding. I want to hear your opinions, because maybe, who knows, maybe my arguments are flawed in some way, and if so, I'd love to see why. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.